Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 25th episode of the Knowledge Nest. This week, we are going to talk about citations. Last week, we talked about how to research from start to finish or start to an ending point. I looked at aardvarks through various resources. I helped you navigate through our catalog and then EBSCO databases and other databases. And then we looked at artificial intelligence and the differing outputs that certain tools would have when you try to use them to look up information. I should stress that when you use artificial intelligence, you should always fact check it. I may have mentioned that last week, I may have not, but in any case, you should fact check all information that anyone gives you. And additionally, when you fact check, you should cite the ideas you are using. We are not going to go into, I went into copyright a few weeks ago. We're not going to go into copyright right now, but we're going to talk about citations and how to attribute your writings and the ideas in them, if appropriate, to their original sources. And we're not going to talk about permissions. That would be a more copyright thing. But this week we're going to talk about citations in varying formats. And then next week we're going to talk about plagiarism. So let's talk about citations for a bit. We have many different types of citations. I personally prefer the Chicago style because I am a historian at heart, and that is what we mostly use in history, is the Chicago format. However, librarians use APA, and as I'm a librarian, I am very familiar with the APA style. And English writers use the MLA format, and there are multiple other formats. In any case, and this site is the Guide to Research site that was created by Dave and Allison. So thank you to them for making this. It is critical that you cite your sources and information as you are doing your research. Otherwise, you could be guilty of plagiarism. And yes, the two most widely used citation styles are APA and MLA, and most of your classes will require to use a citation style for your writing assignments. If you do not cite something correctly, even if you don't want to put the commas or periods in the exact places they're supposed to be in, it will count as plagiarism. So you need to be able to know what style you need to use and be able to use that style. There are a lot of helpful tools such as citationmachine.com, and citationmachine.com particularly does fairly well at citing things correctly. However, you need to know how to use and know how to order things and format them in the correct way, because Citation Machine does make mistakes on almost every citation it performs if you don't put in the right metadata. So you need to put it in the correct way. In any case, whatever tool you use, whatever you use to find how to cite something or generate a citation or write one yourself, it needs to be in the correct format. You need to have the correct output. And even sometimes the sources that you have in permalinks to articles will not be appropriate. You need to be able to change those as well. Of course, we have one of the greatest resources is the Purdue Online Writing Lab, or the Purdue OWL. And here we have, which is relevant. MLA 9 just came out, and they're available in OWL now. And they actually have a change log, or a change record at least, of what's new and different in the new form of MLA citations and the old form. And so they have a bunch of resources on research and citations, avoiding plagiarism, subject-specific writing, and then they have different guides for different citation styles and even exercises you can use. So I would encourage you all to go to owl.purdue.edu/owl. Back to this was adapted and is related to the citation styles page on LibGuides, which was created by another librarian, Ross. This is Dave's picture, but Ross Sempeck created it, or at least updated it last. So here we have the MLA handbook and the APA style handbook, and we have the CSE style and ACS style. We don't have a Chicago box, But in these boxes at libguides.csi.edu/citation styles, you can look at different resources for citing certain styles. You can buy the handbooks. All of the information within them is located online somewhere, especially at Purdue OWL and other resources. This is very helpful. It was actually created by the APA style people. American Psychological Association is what that stands for. So you don't necessarily have to buy the book, but we have it in our library. So even if you wanted to, and it's a reference text, you can come and look at it. I had to buy it for my master's degree, but I was able to find all of it online. So it was very helpful to have it in print if you ever need to cite something and you don't have online access. But if you do, you have a bunch of resources you can use. We have a bunch of plagiarism resources, which we'll look at next week. But I just wanted to help you know where citation styles can be found and where different sources exist. And then here in the guide, we have applications of different styles and pages from Purdue OWL. And of course, you can ask us as librarians to help you with these things. We didn't get where we were without accurately citing our sources. And even if we don't know a certain style, like I do not know, to be fair, CSC or ACS, I do know APA and Chicago. But I can help you know how to cite things as long as we have the same and correct style guide. So that's the kind of nice resources from Purdue OWL and from our library. But let's say you want to just find what citations are recommended for a certain page or a certain article. Let's go to a familiar site, Library Catalog. I'm going to go to EBSCO. Let's just go to the EBSCO Discovery Service. And let's talk about, well, we did aardvarks last time. Let's do aardvarks again. And we got our Funk and Wagnalls 2018 encyclopedia article. Let's say you want to cite this. So you go over here and you click on Cite. And here we have a bunch of citations. We have APA 7th edition, we have Chicago 17th edition, and we have an author date version and a notes and bibliography version, and an MLA 9th edition as well. Now, hold up. We have two different types of citations. We have a Chicago 17th and in author date and a Chicago 17th notes and bibliography. What is this for? Well, an author and date style is for a reference list, and a notes and bibliography version is for a bibliography. And this also is not going to have everything you need because you need to be able to learn how to cite things in text. So an in-text citation references a reader to the bibliography entry that you have. And so say you have this article about aardvarks. You have in the notes and bibliography section, you have an aardvark, Funk and Wagnalls New World Encyclopedia, January 2018. Well, in your paper, you would have an in-text citation that references someone to this entry. So in the APA format, you would have, Funk and Wagnall 2018. Or in Chicago, you would have a different format. Typically, you would have Funk and Wagnalls New World Encyclopedia, comma, and then you would spell out the whole day because Chicago likes to be extremely specific about these things. But if you need to have an in-text citation and a bibliography citation, it will help if you do those at the same time. So whenever you write something, and here's a tip from me, cite something in text, in the bibliography, and then generate your in-text citation in the moment. There's nothing worse than writing a paper and going back and having to create all your in-text citations because you don't know exactly where it was. Cite something exactly when you use it in your work. And make sure you do it in in-text citation and a bibliography citation. In policies and in things that aren't really meant for academic use, you might only have to do a bibliography. That's what I do. I only do bibliographies or works cited lists. But if you're doing it for academic research or you're publishing it in an academic place, you need to do an in-text citation. There will be other guidances from your faculty members who are teaching your courses and your staff members, and possibly other librarians have other preferences than I do. But cite however your instructor tells you to do it and follow best practices in anything that you do, or else again, you'll be guilty of plagiarism, and we'll discuss that next week. I hope that you all enjoyed our little discussion on citations and the different formats of citations. I am grateful that I learned early on the importance of citing my sources. I had a very early introduction to this concept because my grandma was an AP English teacher and she instilled in me a love of accuracy and thoroughness in searching for information and disseminating it to others. So thank you, Grandma, for helping me develop best practices at an early age. But again, please reach out to us, and we are always able and willing to help you. On that note, please reach out to me at rhepler@csi.edu or through another librarian, or talk to another librarian and help us help you. Give us your questions. Help us to know how we should plan our programming. What success stories have you had with the library? What aspects of the library maybe aren't jiving with what exactly you need or want? Is there a research question we can help you with? Tell us these things. The main reason that this citation episode of the podcast was created was because it was listed on a list of frequently asked questions to us as librarians. So we wouldn't have had these podcast episodes, some of them I did because they were pertinent, but many of these are issues that the students or faculty members have brought up. So please give us your input. Related to input and participation, we again have our summer book reading program. Please read the books that we have in the summer book reading list, and additionally, come to our book club. Please come to our book club. It is in this Thursday. We are talking about The Maid at noon. It's going to be fantastic. It's a very interesting book. And I think we're going to have an August book club as well. But thank you for everyone who has participated in these book clubs. It's been a really fun experience. So thank you for everything. And again, reach out and contact us with any questions, concerns, or desires. And I will see you next week on the Knowledge Nest.